Welcome to our podcast on trustworthy AI and its role in helping de-risk adoption of AI. I'm here talking on a subject that is of extremely important, very extremely passionate about, and it's fresh, hot off the press as we speak. Talking to a expert in the area, Piercosma Bisconti. He's a
Good
project
morning.
leader of the EU AI standard on AI Trustworthiness Framework. This framework is inside the CEN-CENELEC, and the CEN-CENELEC is a EU standardization committee, and we'll talk more with Piercosma about that as to what that means. He is a researcher at Italian Inter-University Consortium for Computer Science and is also a founder of a company, DEXA, which stands for Artificial Ethics. His research is heavily engaged with the social and the ethical implications of AI and robotics. So, welcome, Pierre Cosma.
Thank you very much, Pamela, for inviting me, and thank you everyone for being here. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a lot of questions for you, and can't wait to get started. So let me just start out with first, if you can give us a better idea of what is Senselect.
Yeah, the CEN and CENELEC, along with ETSI, are the three standardization bodies in Europe. So the three committees, the three bodies, they take care of standardizing in Europe laws or in any case, anything that is related to electrotechnical. That is the CENELEC. And together, the CEN and the CENELEC, they are in a joint technical committee that is JTC 21, the one related to artificial intelligence. And the CEN-CENELEC received a request for standardization from the EU Commission on AI systems related to the EU AI Act.
Okay. All right. That's really good to know for those of us who are not based in the EU. Let me ask you now the $1 million question, right? The EU AI Act is finalized. There is going to be a lot of questions on how to make it actionable, how to digest it, how to consume it, and make it adopt it, right? What does it mean for different companies? What does it mean for different organizations? So, a lot of questions. And what we're looking forward to finding out from you is how this standardization committee and the AI trustworthiness framework, firstly, what it is and how it can help with the adoption of embracing this AU AI Act. So let's
Thank
just
you,
start
Pamela.
with what is the connection first.
Yeah. Thank you, Pamela, for this question because it's probably the most important one for many companies inside the EU and outside the EU that will, in any case, have a market here. So, since AI Act is applied also to companies that are outside the EU but operate in the EU market. So, the AI Act, as everyone knows, I think, will be soon approved by the Parliament, and we have the final version. And this final version came out after a long journey of discussions inside the Parliament, the trilogues between Parliament, the Commission, and so on and so on. Inside the AI Act, there are many provisions that needs to be applied by companies in order to be compliant with the regulation, and therefore being able to be in the EU market. And most of them are related, as everyone knows, to high risk AI systems. So how to be compliant is one of the most discussed questions inside the international panorama of artificial intelligence today. The way to be compliant with the AI Act, one of them passes through the standard. So the point is that when you adopt the standards that are harmonized, and we will see what does it mean, under the EU context, the EU environment, then there is the presumption of conformity. So the presumption of conformity is something like saying that the burden of the proof is on the other side. So adopting the standards and the harmonized standards from the CEN-CENELEC means for companies to really a relief of the burden of applying the provisions of the AI Act in each and every AI system in maybe a different way. So on the other hand, if one adopts the EU standards that will be harmonized, then one can say, I am actually compliant with the EU AI Act since I am conformant with the standards. Then, of course, one should apply the standards in the proper way to be compliant. But in any case, to be conformant with those standards, there is the presumption of conformity. So, how did this happen? The Commission gave to the CEN-CENELEC a standardization request. And this standardization request asks to standardize 10 items plus one of the about AI systems. And they are mostly mirroring the main provisions for a high-risk AI system that are inside the AI Act. For example, that AI system needs to be accurate, robust, that there needs to be a risk management framework and a conformity assessment framework, and they must be, and so on and so on. I mean, all the other provisions that are inside the AI Act. So this standardization request ended up with the 10 items, to technical items, let's say, to be standardized, and an overarching framework. The overarching framework is trustworthiness. As everyone probably remembers, in the 2018-19, the EU Commission high-level expert groups wrote a white paper that was the ethics guidelines for trustworthy AI. And this trustworthiness concept came is still there in the AI Act and is the overarching framework. So what's the trustworthiness standard, which I am leading at EU level, it will do? It will be the entry point for the industry of the all standardization request. So the AI Trustworthiness Framework will be the standard that will guide every company inside the standardization request in order to achieve the conformity with all the standards that will be harmonized. So the 10 and plus one, so trustworthiness, standards that are part of the standardization request are supposed to be harmonized by the EU Commission. Harmonized means that they will be published in the official journal of the EU. And being published in this official journal, it means that they are directly linked with the EU AI Act. So those standardization requests the all 10 items are supposed to be published between April to June 25. And when they will be published, they will be also harmonized lately after. So that's mostly the EU environment and how it is moving. And I want also to add that there is a strong link and collaboration between the CEN-CENELEC and JTC21, that is the Joint Technical Committee on Artificial Intelligence, and the SC42 of ISO, the International Standardization Organization. And these two are working together on many standards in order to achieve the best transatlantic framework possible.
Okay, that's really good to know. Very important information. So let me ask you this: as companies are looking to figure out what they have to do, right? You mentioned those 10+1 requirements, right? So when you're talking about harmonization, is that within EU, with the other there's two other standard bodies that you mentioned? What are the implications of that harmonization?
The harmonization means that the standards that is harmonized inside the EU will be linked directly and lawfully in some ways to the AI Act itself.
Okay,
So it's
got it.
the fundamental point that then enables the presumption of conformity. If a standard is not harmonized, if the adoption is not giving anything toward the law. Okay, so harmonization is something that we can simply say that the EU adopts these standards officially. Okay, well,
Okay.
CEN-CENELEC is not a part of the EU Commission directly. Okay, even if it's very much linked to it, of course, but it's not a part of the Commission. So the EU Commission should adopt these standards, and this means to be harmonized.
Okay, got it. Okay, that's good to know. So how much time do we have?
Quite not that much, not that few. I mean, as everyone knows, the provisions of the AI Act about high risk AI system will apply after 48 months, so 2 years, 24 months, 2 years after
Yeah.
the official vote of the parliament when the AI Act will be officially published. Okay, so this will probably mean that in around May 2026, the AI Act will be enforced. So the point is that the AI Act is enforced immediately after the approval, but the sanctions will be applied only after 2 years. So there is a grace period. Okay, during this grace period, the companies have two options mostly. The first one is to wait until the very end to then like make it in 1 month the old compliance that will probably need to restructure many processes. Think about the
Mhm.
logging provision. Most of the companies today they are not already like doing the logging in the way the AI Act wants. And also, so logging procedures, also robustness, and all the other frameworks, and also the risk management one, can be either applied all at the end, but this means a lot of efforts, a very quick restructuring of the development process and implementation process that will be surely very expensive, or they can start now like understanding what the standards are actually doing, what will be inside the standards. Also, if the standards from GTC 21 are not published yet, they are mostly very much near to the one of ISO. So being already compliant with the one of ISO, it's an initial step towards conformity with the EU standards for sure. And this is something that will take time because it means
Mhm.
restructuring a lot of processes inside the organization that are not only related to the ones of the development team, but also the ones of the like the general management of the company, because governance, quality management, and all these other standards and all these other like frameworks, best practices that needs to be applied, they apply also at the company level.
Which ISO standard or standards are we going to be talking about here as they relate to the trustworthiness?
Well, ISO standards are not directly related to trustworthiness because they are not a new standard, okay? But if you take, for example, risk management, quality management, it's my personal opinion is that it's better to start like working on the ones that we have that are ISO published, a risk management and the quality management one. So it's better start working on them. And because they, in any case, is better than nothing, you know? So if you apply and you properly apply the quality management from ISO, you are already in the good track in order to apply the ones from the CEN-CENELEC. The trustworthiness framework will be the one that will give to companies the high level horizontal requirements that are needed in order to be compliant with the whole standardization. Okay, so it's at the same time high level requirements that will then redirect to the specific standard and the glue of the standardization request. So since the 10 items are very different, but also very much interconnected, so there was the need for a framework that put everything together and tells companies how those standards, those 10 standards, they have an interplay between each other and how this interplay should be managed. So the AI Trustworthiness Framework will be, in fact, the entry point for industries in order to achieve this conformity.
Do you want to mention what those 10 points are, or you want to, I can add it to the notes later on?
Well, yeah, probably we might add to the notes later on. Also,
Okay.
if we are talking about the high-level requirements, I'm not today in the position of talking of the content of the standard specifically for yeah, because it's
Yeah.
nothing. The moment we are still in a discussion, and the first draft of the standard will be probably ready, not for the public, unfortunately, will be probably ready around probably November of this year. We hope so, of course, and so yeah, in that case, of course, much more information will be available.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, it just came out. The act is just being, f- yeah, the ink is just drying on that right now. And so the next step is for companies, for organizations to find out how they can comply with it would be to take that approach of adopting the standards, right? And the standards themselves will be out publicly in the next year or so. So the way it seems, the progression, the natural progression in terms of conforming and adopting EU AI Act, the next steps would be to wait for the standards, but get very familiar with what the EU AI expectations are. To your point earlier, these are not things that can be done overnight or within a month, and then wait for the standards as they are set in place. Then that'll provide that roadmap of what uh, the tangible and the roadmap of strategic as well as tactical guidance on what to do and how to do it across the organizations, right?
Exactly.
So this is really important work that you're doing, at the CEN-CENELEC, as a project manager for this AI trustworthiness framework, in helping making that more adoptable, making demystifying it. So extremely important step that will, all eyes on you, Piercos.
Thank you very much, Pamela. No pressure, of course, for me.
No.
And And I would like also to point out other two things that, in my opinion, are very important. The AI Trustworthiness Framework is also thought to be something that would be highly viable and valuable, of course, for SMEs and small companies. Because everyone knows in Europe, and also the EU Commission probably knows, that SMEs and small companies, the burden on them to apply all the standards and to like being conformant with them is much more stressful, let's say, than a big company. So the idea of trustworthiness is also to make it viable to any company, that so that they will be able to easily understand which are the most important steps that they need to take in order to achieve this conformity. And also another thing that is very important for me, and sure for the Commission, for the EU environment in general, is the fact that the EU Trustworthiness Framework is also a framework that wants to ensure that there is societal trustworthiness of AI. So the main point of the entire standardization request is, on the one side, not reduce competitiveness of the EU market and not like creating barriers for the market in the EU for AI systems that will be a wide market with many use cases and an application, and that will be probably like entering every place of an organization work. And on the other hand, what the EU AI Act and the AI Trustworthiness Framework want to ensure is that the societal trust can be built on artificial intelligence, because societal trust means social acceptance. Social acceptance means higher adoption, and higher adoption at the very end means a better market.
Yeah, so you are touching on a point which has been somewhat contested around the EOA Act, right? Which is it going to innovate? How does it impact innovation? Without putting words in anybody's mouth, right? How does it impact innovation? What about the small companies? And as we know, um, small companies or large, right? A lot of this is very risk based. So even if it is a small company, it does not necessarily mean that the system that is being built is low risk, right? So how do you manage and weigh that out and balance that out? That really is the most critical point for everyone to be aware of, as opposed to what is, because it's small company, they should have more latitude. It is important for everyone to be on that level playing field. Having said that, because I'm a risk management professional, right? I come from a background of understanding and explaining risk to companies, and how to be profitable, forward looking in light of that. But we do know that there is a price tag associated. So small companies may not be able to afford that. But I do think that the role that you are playing, right, of providing that standardized approach, that really will be a huge crutch for the smaller companies to rely on, because to your point, everybody is held to that same standard. And I agree with that. And I think, how do we make it more palatable and adoptable? That's where the standards will play a big role in that.
That's right. I very much
Okay.
agree with what you said. And also, I would like to add 2 points. The first one is that there are many complaints, understandable complaints from the EU market and also outside on the fact that UAI Act is against innovation. On the other hand, I would like to remind that an airplane cockpit is probably to build it, you need to apply something like hundreds of standards. So the UAI Act standardization request is about 10 standards plus one framework that should make easy the application of the others. So what I think is that on the one hand, a regulation, the UAI Act is surely a more stringent and more like hard regulation than others. On the other hand, if standards are adopted, it will be also very much easier than expected to be compliant with the UAI Act, or in any case, to have the presumption of conformity. That is already something. And I think that for sure innovation should be fostered. And I think that the EU in general is doing this by pushing the ones who are writing standards to make them as easy as possible to be applied and as strict as possible to ensure trustworthiness at the societal level, of course.
Yeah, I hear that, and thank you. I from my perspective, this takes the onus off of the companies because now they know what to do, right? It's actually doing them a huge. It is pro innovation because they don't have to waste time on, you know, when I say waste, I mean they don't have to detract from their mission and purpose of what their company is about, to think about what are there any risks, or did we miss something. This is something that is going to make it simpler for them to have a kind of a blueprint, a risk blueprint to follow, and make it more adoptable. So thank you very much. I think those were you know based on where we are right now, gives us a good idea of what to expect, where we are, what to expect, and where the future lies when it comes to EU AI Act and the standards. Um, if there are any concluding remarks or takeaways, feel free, please do share them. And otherwise, thank you.
Yeah, I would like only to say that I am, I think also the other experts of the CEN-CENELEC promptly available to spread the awareness on the fact that standards will help innovation and will help path toward conformity that will be easier than expected. I hope so. So thank you very much to you, Pamela, for inviting me and for giving me the occasion to talk about the AI Trustworthiness Framework. And I hope that in November or something, I will be able to give more information on the content. So, of course.
I will put that on the calendar. Thank you. Okay.